Right then, so this video is basically what do we need to do or think about if we're going to use one of these little babies for business. Okay, so this is the Mavic Mini 2. This is my fly morph package. I bought mine from Argos, so click and collect. It cost me £549. It came with 3 batteries. Okay, it says reaching down to grab it, as you see my bald head. So this is it. This is the little Mini 2. Great bit of kit. Okay, ideal for low-end property and roof inspections, basically. That's what it's perfect for. You know, it's got a 12 megapixel camera. It will allow you to zoom in on stills before you take the photo, and it can zoom on video, so perfect. Okay, so those 2 bits, that's the important bits. Okay, got your drone. Now my click and collect from Argos was uneventful. There was no leaflet telling me about the drone code. There was no leaflet telling me I have to register as an operator. Okay, so that, none of that. So people, I'm not surprised if there's lots of people out there that do not know you must register one of these. Okay, because you know, places like Argos, I'm willing to bet they sell a lot of these and there's nothing on the drone code. Absolutely nothing. There was nothing in the box from DJI saying, you know, check your country for registration, etc. Nothing. Anyway, that's another story. So get your operator ID, get your flyer ID. The flyer ID is a free test. Just do it. Okay, just covers you. Now, what else do you need to start doing your business? Well, there's a few things to think about. Okay, so number one thing, operator ID, flyer ID, insurance. Okay, liability insurance. If you're going to work in the UK, by now everyone knows the dreaded word insurance. Okay, now it must meet certain requirements for commercial ops in the UK. Okay, if you're using a drone or unmanned aircraft, UAS, SUA, whatever you want to call this, okay, this little flying robot, okay, whatever you call it, you've got to have insurance to use it commercially. Okay, and that has to meet a certain requirement. So hobby flying doesn't meet this requirement. The requirement is you must meet EC 785 2004 insurance. Now there are a few companies out there that offer this kind of insurance. We have Flock, who do pay-as-you-go, we've got Moonrock, and we've got Cover Drone. Okay, they're the big 3. Okay, everyone knows them. There are others. Please don't rely on anything I say on insurance. Look at it yourself, check it out, make your own decisions. Okay, just to be clear, I am with Moonrock, and that's it. I've been with Cover Drone before now. I do not have a problem with either one of those companies supplying insurance. They're very good. I've rarely heard bad things. Okay, rarely. So those 2 are the ones that I will consider. Flock for pay-as-you-go. I fly often enough that pay-as-you-go would be too expensive. So that's why I would never look at Flock. Okay, it's just because I've always had Moonrock or Cover Drone. I'll stay with who I know, if you like. They're both good. My insurance level, you've got to think about this. Okay, so you're doing that big property shoot. Okay, there's that nice property and there's that 100 grand car on the drive. It looks very nice. Ooh. Now, you didn't ask them to move it. Oh dear. What would happen if this hit someone's nice shiny Maserati, a Tesla, a Ferrari, a Jag? You know, if this was to do something daft, right? Or let's say the pilot did something daft, and basically it took off, you take off and it goes and it gashes all down the side of the car. Who's going to pay for that damage? Okay, this is why you have insurance, to cover your own arse, basically. If you was to hit a car and people go, well, they don't go wrong. Well, they do. It's been quite clear that on Facebook, I've already seen where one flew into a metal shutter door. Well, hang on a minute, why would it do that? If you take off and the compass is all right and GPS is locked, it shouldn't move. However, if you take off without a GPS lock, the aircraft will allow the wind to push it about, because it needs stick inputs from you to be able to move it. Okay, so I'm very much like, sounds like it didn't have a GPS lock and the wind just blew it and it just flew into the shutter. It also explains why there's a lot of flyaways, because people don't seem to think that without GPS you can't fly a drone. Well, you can, the stick inputs still work, you just got to fly it. You know, it just will not, when you let go of the sticks, basically it just means the wind can move it. That's all it means without GPS. That's all ATI mode means. Still a stabilised flight mode. Anyway, enough of that little bit of a rant. So, you have to think what level of insurance you're going to need, okay, when you're out there working. Now, I would say £1 million for doing simple roof inspections, doing small properties is probably okay. Okay, I have to have 5 as a minimum, okay, for one of my clients, because the properties I get to fly at and near and everything, they're worth a bit more than £1 million at times. So it's just, you know, we want 5 million. What the client wants, the client gets. Okay, so my insurance is right up there. Sometimes it's up to 10. Okay, you have to remember what happens if this was to fall. Okay, it lands on the roof. Well, it crashes into the roof, should we say? The battery gets jolted, okay, and cracks, and we get a fire. If that building, worst case, was to go up in flames, you know, you want to know that your insurance means that you're covered, because HSE will probably get involved as well. If you've got the right insurance in place, that'd be good. You should have a basic risk assessment of some kind in place. I will put a link to Drone Desk, which will track. So Drone Desk is really good if you want to set up a drone business, even with this little fella. Okay, so Drone Desk will track your clients for you. It will do your risk assessments for you, or help do them really well. Covers all bases in that respect. If you've got a big client and you want, like, they want proper risk assessments and forms, you know, you get proper, we're talking printed out, you get about 20 pages of the stuff. So Drone Desk is really good, and it's free. You can do the free version of Drone Desk, but it'll do client, it'll do different aircraft, so you can have more than one aircraft to it. You can have more than one client to it. It can also do the invoicing, understand the invoicing, if you've been paid or not. It can do all these kind of things. It helps you run a drone business, because the important bit is when you go out to do a job, let's say you go out to do a property, what do you charge? And this is the other thing that everyone goes, I don't know, what a good job, I'll do it for 50 quid. You do a job for 50 quid. Okay, so here's our 50 quid. Okay, now let's say you're doing pay-as-you-go insurance, and let's say that is £10. Okay, just for that, just fly for the day, okay, and do the shoot. So there's £10 gone. Okay, let's say it's an hour there and an hour back, so it's 2 hours travel. Now we'll pay ourselves £10 an hour, okay, to drive there and drive back. We now have £20. That £20, right, has to cover your video editing time if you're doing video. It has to cover your photo and photo editing time if you're doing photo editing. Okay, that's before you've got to count in, are you giving the media digitally? Are you giving an USB stick? Because there's a cost there. You've only got £20. Okay, how are you going to pay to do all that? People that do jobs for 50 quid have probably lost money before they've got up in the morning. It's that simple. You've got to think of your car wear and tear and your car insurance and everything else. Okay, so the Mini is one part of your business. Okay, you've then got to think about your pricing. Okay, people that go, oh, I'll do it for 50 quid. Well, if you do it for 50 quid, right, that's fine. You're just going to lose money. Okay, or you're not going to make a lot of money. You might do 5 jobs, right, and you'll see £250 and go, yes, I made £250 this month. Hang on a minute, I made that in one job. If I did 5 jobs at 250 quid, I've made over £1,000. And £1,000 pays my bills. You know what I mean? You've got to work out what your bills are, right? And everything else, because this little fella can't fly in rain. You can only fly for around 200 days a year. Okay, so I am very much, if I can fly on a Sunday and the weather's nice, I will do. So I've got a property to do I went today to look at it with the agent, so I drove out. It's 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. It's cost me fuel, so they're probably going to get billed for the fuel drive now. I charge 40p a mile or 45p a mile, depending who the client is. Typically 40p at the minute because fuel's cheap. You've got to make sure you're charging for everything, and people expect to be paid. People expect this. People expect, you know, if you say, oh, it's 40p a mile if I've got to go more than 30 miles, people don't mind that because clients understand there is a cost to that. Okay, so you've got to think about it. So you want to be thinking what you can charge. It's not about what you can charge as a minimum fee and get away with. You want to be charging, okay, in a nice area where you're happy, right? The client's going to be happy, and if you can, it's about upselling as well. So let's say you did a photo shoot on a property. Let's say you did it at £100, okay? So £100, but you're only going to get £50 profit at the minute, right? Because there's your insurance, driving there and back, there's car maintenance and everything else, okay? You're going to do some editing, and we'll allow a couple of hours for editing in there, right? So 50 quid will be profit, 50 quid is gone. Now that £50, right, that you've got left, can you improve on that £50? Well, you could. What you could do is you could offer them, do they want a canvas print? Do they want an A4 canvas print? Do they want A3? Do they want a pano? Did you do a pano shot so you can get a nice pano, a nice long canvas for them? Upsell these as extra add-ons, but make sure you've got a price list, okay, and you can tell them what they want. So you might show them out of the 50 photos or 20 photos you've taken, they tell you which ones they want, turning into canvas shots or putting into like posters or anything. You might be able to turn that £100 into £250, £300. Okay, it's about the upsell as well. Okay, and if you can do that, you'll do all right. Okay, don't forget, you know, you may need to consider, if you put in prop guards on this, by the way, before I forget, you may need your A2 CFC, and that would then allow you in the built up area under the A1 category, transitional aircraft, it would allow you to fly this with no horizontal separation, uninvolved person, aircraft. You know, you can fly safely in a built-up area, just no overflight, okay, if you put prop guards on it, because it takes its weight limit up, okay. I think it's a great little machine. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Make sure you get business cards made up. So every time you do a photo shoot for a property, okay, right, and you've sold them the canvas, and you've sold, or however they wanted their images, right, give them a business card. I picked up a gig doing a inspection for a big, and I mean, I think it was one of the last big mine heads in the UK. Just wanted general inspection photos on all four sides. Now I had to use the Phantom 4 Pro, okay, because it's got the camera for it. It's really nice. So I used the Phantom 4 Pro, but because I'd given my business card to this person that I'd done a property shoot for, I picked up another client. Okay, I've got a property down south that I've got to go back to because it was too foggy the other day. The fog just caught me out. It was up on a hill. I didn't realise it was hilly. I get there, you know, 5 miles away, it was clear. On site, fog, freezing fog as well, as I found out. I put the Phantom up, just take a shot, just to prove to the client. I landed, and literally the aircraft in the air for 2 minutes. I swear, just up, take photo, come down. It probably wasn't even 2 minutes. You can see ice had started to form on my props on the Phantom 4. So it's a good job it didn't stay up for too long. But it proved, you know, that I couldn't do the job, so I've got to go back. That job will be the Phantom 4 Pro, because the 4 Pro, the camera quality, I cannot match. This will never match the Phantom 4 Pro. Phantom 4 Pro is high-end clients, that's it. Okay, this will do okay for roof inspections and properties where it's a little bit harder with the Phantom 4 Pro to put it up because of the amount of paperwork. Okay, Phantom 4 Pro, because of its size, even with the A2 CFC, it's no good. Okay, because because of the diameter of the cylinder you fly in under the A2, because it's 50 metres this side, 50 metres this side, 50 metres in front, 50 metres behind, away from uninvolved people, be them in a car or a house, the Phantom 4 Pro doesn't win. With my GVC I can get that down to 30 metres on all sides for takeoff and landing, and 50 metres, and it can overfly. The important bit is my Phantom 4 Pro can overfly. If I've got to cross a road, a busy road, I will cross that road with the Phantom 4 Pro. That aircraft's touching wood so far, it's done 90 odd hours now. It's proving that it can do its job. Although, like all things, just don't trust them 100%. Okay, just maintain your aircraft. But that's it with your Mini. So we're in lockdown. I'm drivelling on. So we're in lockdown. Right, number one, sort out a business card, business name. Okay, look at Drone Desk. Okay, make life easy for yourself. If you want a drone business, right, make your life easy. Okay, we've then got, right, what I do is I'm not VAT registered. You don't have to be VAT registered. So what I do is I have like 2 bank accounts, and what you can do is have one that you just use for your business and just use one for everything else. Okay, that's the easy way to keep track of everything for your expenses, because you will have to do your accounts every year, and it just makes life easy. Why make it hard? I don't. Yeah, so Drone Desk will allow you to do risk assessments, very basic, very quick. It is just a good bit of software that it just gets better as well. It'll tell you about airspace. Remember, if you have got a Mavic Mini, remember to get Nat's Drone Assist for checking airspace before you fly anywhere. Okay, if you're flying on the owner's property, that's fine, because just be aware of privacy there with the neighbours, because that's always a big thing. Some people get funny. The summer is coming. There's going to be a lot of people still out in the gardens. So privacy may become a thing in the summer to watch out for. If we're still into lockdown or go into another one, you're going to have to seriously just be careful that you're not capturing the neighbours too much. The properties I do, typically, it won't be an issue anyway, because the gardens are that big. You don't see the neighbour anyway. So yeah. Yeah, and just get yourself doing it now. We're in lockdown. You can do all these things in lockdown. So just crack on, okay? There are other business stuff in the channel. So what I'll do is I'll put some links in the description so you can go and look. But if you want to set up a business with a Mini, you can do, okay? It's going to be hard work. No business is instant or overnight. No business. Most businesses, 2 years. If you get past 2 years, you're probably on a good thing. It won't happen overnight. A drone is not money printing. It never was. Okay. But yeah, I think with a Mini, property, roof inspections, you are going to need a better drone at some point, like the Mavic 2 Pro or the Phantom 4 Pro. I would say one of them and the Mini is probably the best combo at the minute for all round. That's what I would have. I would have the GVC operational authorization, okay, for the Mavic 2 Pro and for the Phantom 4 Pro, and then I'd have the A2 just to cover you on this if you're using prop guards. I wouldn't use an A2 with anything over 500 grams at the minute until a C-rated aircraft comes out. Okay, I don't think at the minute the A2 CFC is worth it unless you're flying in the countryside. Then you want to reduce the distances, but you're allowed 50 metres in the countryside anyway, so it's, from uninvolved people, so it's a tricky one. The A2 CFC, it's one of those interesting ones. It kind of works, but it doesn't, depending on what you're doing. Like I was saying, the A2 is a little bit, all the shots you can see behind me could have been done with a Phantom 4 Pro or Mavic 2 Pro this year, just in the open category. They're all big properties out of the way, okay? And finally, just to wrap up, do your research, because there is a thing with property shoots. It's only kind of busy from like March until November. So you end up from November to March every year is kind of a dead period. Typically, I do not do any property in that time period. I normally have to have made enough for like 6 months, 7 months while the property market is good. I make my money then, and then that's it. And the reason being, if there's no leaves on trees, the shots are not pretty. Okay, spring is when spring starts and you get leaves and blossoms starting to come. That's perfect. And then as you move through the summer, that's good. But as soon as the leaves start dropping off the trees, that's when the property market, or taking photos of it, does this. It's like this. So, you know, you've got to think what you're going to do for the rest of the year. You need to find more clients, other clients. How do you do all that? Well, luckily for you guys, there's some nice videos in the channel. Okay, so just go check it all out. You may as well, because you can't fly, it's wet and weather, and you're meant to be locked down. So, you know, you may as well learn a bit on the channel, you know, on setting up a business. Okay, so feel free to hit subscribe and yeah, hit dislike on all the videos. That'd be fantastic. Right, take care, safe flying. Okay, have a good one. Cheers.